All right. Welcome to the Viking Age podcast. I'm your host, Adam Patrick. Usually I'm here with Chris Shad, but he is not here right now. He decided to watch a little Royal Rumble in person down in Tampa, so he's on his way back, and he's been given the day off to get some rest from some jet lag. But we are here. I am here with Nik Edlund from Onebar Lupugus, the world famous Onebar
Oh yeah,
Lupugus YouTube channel that covers the Vikings. Go check them out. They're
yeah.
a
Thanks
fun
for having
watch.
me. Sorry
Yeah.
about the downgrade in looks, but you know what? You get what you get.
Yes, Nick also writes for us at the Viking Age, and he has a lot of good
Yeah,
stuff. So go check him out there. Before we get started, make sure to follow the Viking Age on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, like this video, whatever you got to do. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter. Just follow at the Viking Age. You can find us all there. All right, let's just get right into it. We're going to talk about somebody that usually no one really talks about, and that is Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins. He's me and Chris just did we did like a big podcast. I think like last week or the week before, where we just did like a big debate. Where we went over
Hmm.
every pros and cons of everything because we really didn't want to like every week be like, well, we want him, we don't know. So after every time we talk about him, we always say, just go back to that episode if you want to get more detailed input on our opinions. Obviously, you can share yours, um, but most recently, the Pioneer Press, I believe Charlie Walters came out with his little weekly, not little, obviously, a lot of people read it, but his blog where he talks about a lot of sports around the Minnesota area, and he had a little tidbit about the Vikings, how the buzz is that Kirk Cousins is looking for a contract that is at least 2 years long, and it comes with 90 million fully guaranteed, not fully, but 90 million guaranteed at the very
Hmm.
least. Um, and he was quick to say that's not going to happen. Pretty much with the Vikings. I believe the same, and I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on this little
Yeah,
tidbit that came through recently.
yeah. And I'm like on the fence about Kirk Cousins bringing him back or not. Like, I get why you do it so you can compete next year. I can get
Yeah.
why you don't do it, but I'm also in the belief that like getting into those top three, get one of those quarterbacks is gonna be very, very hard to do, if not impossible. But I'm sorry, 2 years, 45 million each. I can't do that. I can't swing that. That is out of the price range. Kirk Cousins, good luck. We'll see you later.
Yeah, especially with he's going to be 36 by the start of week one next year. He's coming off a torn Achilles. I know, he's going to foreign countries and getting stem cells and everything, and saying his recovery is, you know, much quicker than anticipated. He's about to start throwing and everything. His PR
Mhm.
team is getting him out and about, telling everyone, he's going to be ready for a training camp or whatever. But we really just don't know how well Kirk Cousins is going to recover from this injury. He's never really had a serious injury like this. I know he's going around claiming, "Oh, I'm a pocket passer, so Achilles doesn't really matter." Well, you still got to drop back, and that's pretty much how
Mhm.
you hurt it in the first place. Um, but yeah, 45, like even if it wasn't like fully guaranteed,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want the Vikings to give a aging, I guess you could say, 36 quarterback coming off a torn Achilles. It's not good business.
No.
Um, I think 2 years is probably the max I would go in terms of contract length. Um, but that 90 million seems a little high for a quarterback coming off of a torn Achilles. I know he was playing well,
Mhm.
but like it just doesn't seem like a smart investment. So I'm gonna say no on this one. But you know, you mentioned that you've been open to maybe Kirk Cousins coming back. What would be a scenario where you would be okay with him coming back?
What were those other numbers? Wasn't it like 2 years, 30 something million? I mean, that
I
was a
think
little bit,
I think
yeah. I mean,
PFF had that.
something like that. So I'm fine with that. That's more reasonable for me. But yeah, the 45 is just way too damn much for Kirk Cousins. And you know what? We saw what life's like without him, and we're already used to it. So if it needs to be painful next year, we're all ready for it.
Yeah, for a little perspective, I looked it up before. I think on Spot Rack or Spotrack, wherever you say it.
Hmm.
45 million annually. The average salary would be higher than what Josh Allen makes.
That's insane.
Um, So I don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kirk. If he wants to go, and he's nearing the end of his career, and if he wants another big payday, that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. Go get your money. You only have this opportunity, once in your life.
But
Um,
again, this could also be a negotiation tactic from his career
oh
to
yeah,
set the bar high, so you settle somewhere in the middle. So I mean,
ev-
it's all part of the deal.
everything is like the Cousins team has been negotiating since the final whistle of the season. So
Hmm.
it's all part of the process. Why he's in the public eye and everything. Let everyone know he's okay. But yeah, just the 45 million. No, I would rather give. Well, let's do this. Would you rather give Kirk Cousins 45 million for 2 years, or would you rather give Baker Mayfield 30 million for 3 years?
I don't know. I'm I'm not a Baker believer either. I think he got a little Case Keenum this year. I think he caught some lightning in a bottle and kind of gave himself a resurgence. He's gonna give himself some money.
He did.
I don't want to
Yeah.
give either one of those guys that kind of money.
Yeah. I'm curious about him because I think he was hurt those 2 years where he struggled. And then he was with Matt Rule. Like that was just a lose-lose situation for everybody
Yeah,
in Carolina.
I
I'm
like his
curious to
moxie.
see.
The dude's got some balls on him, but I don't know if I want to be
Yeah,
our
yeah.
quarterback.
And I think his offensive coordinator was really good in Tampa Bay, who's what the Panthers coach now.
Yep. Yeah. Super
Um,
good looking too.
yeah, that's essential.
They just kept
Um,
showing him. They did show like, who is this guy? Week 1, they're showing him. I'm like, what the hell? There's this Zoolander out there. He's just
who's
doing
this
the
guy?
Magnum.
Wow, yeah. If Kirk Cousins doesn't come back to the Vikings, where do you think he goes?
I don't know. Atlanta still makes a lot of sense. Then
Yep.
I don't think he'll go to San Francisco. What was the other team I just saw float around? Something different. Uh,
Dolphins.
yeah, I still think Atlanta makes the most sense. His wife's
Yeah.
from there. He's got family
Yep.
there. That's a team that's probably a quarterback away. So yeah, I think that's where he's gonna go.
And then the OC they just hired Zach Robinson. He's from like the McVay tree,
Yep.
and Raheem Morris is as well. So they're probably going to run a similar offense to what the Vikings run
Yep.
with O'Connell. So I would think he'd be a good fit there.
I do too.
We'll
Pay him.
see.
Pay him, Atlanta.
Yeah, sure, whatever. And you know what? That's a division you want to be in, like the NFC South. Come on,
Yeah.
the Bucks just won with what, eight wins, 9 wins. So
8.5, something like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
you would think that would be easy, but we know with Kirk Cousins, nothing is easy. But
No.
you mentioned the 49ers. That seems like it's probably off the table now because yesterday they won the NFC Championship over the Lions in
Hmm.
dramatic fashion. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
But the Lions had a 17-point lead,
They did.
and that quickly vanished in the third quarter. And then Dan Campbell, I don't know what he was doing in the fourth quarter. Like I don't know if he had money riding on this game or what, but he fumbled that win. Um, do you feel bad for the Lions at all after yesterday?
No, I think you put this out on Twitter. Your tweet about them getting a taste of what it's like to lose the
Oh
NFC
yeah,
Championship as an NFC North team. It always has to be some traumatic, painful
yeah,
way. And you know what? Finally, they get to taste what that feels like. I don't feel bad for them because I've been through it so many times myself.
yeah.
I can sympathize. I can understand it. Like I empathize, but I don't feel bad for them. The way that second half started with the fluky touchdown to Brandon Ayuk that went off the defender's helmet
Yep.
right into his hands. Then they had the Jahmyr Gibbs turnover. Then you have Dan Campbell. Like, you knew Dan Campbell was going to do this. Like, he was going to go for it on fourth down. Was it going to cost him the game or not? But you know what? That's how they played the entire year. You go with what got you there. That's their style. I wasn't surprised that they did it. I wasn't surprised that it didn't work out. But you got to think in that situation, like, just kick the damn field goals. It's the NFC Championship. Even Dan Campbell said it after the game. I don't know where we're going to be here again. So maybe don't play so risky. I don't know.
Yeah, that I think probably the riskiest call he made was the one where he ran Montgomery on third down when
Yep.
they essentially had to use a timeout after that.
Mhm.
And if they didn't get they wouldn't have had to kick an onside kick if they
Nope.
if they just passed the ball. But at the same time, if you go from Campbell's side of the or his view, if they get that touchdown, no one's questioning that call. So I think he was trying to probably just throw them off. It didn't work though.
No.
And now the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. So the Lions were good this year. They won the division. They won 12 games. They swept the Vikings. But they're probably going to lose their offensive coordinator. It sounds like
Mhm.
he's the top guy for
Washington, right?
Washington. Yep, Ben Johnson. I've already seen talk of them re-signing Jared Goff to a extension or a long-term deal. I don't know about their defensive coordinator leaving, but I don't really think that would matter because their defense isn't that great anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but are you going to be worried about the Lions at all heading into the 2024 season, or do you think this is maybe just a one year kind of thing?
No, I'll respect the Lions. I mean, look at the way they finished the season before. I think they won 7 of their last 9 or some
Yep.
crazy number like that. Carried over into this year. They're a very good team, right? And I respect that. But the whole division is going to be good next year. The Packers found something this year.
Yep.
Whether that can carry over next year, I don't know. The Bears are an up and coming team, so I don't fear the Lions anymore. We almost beat them with Nick freaking Mullins as our quarterback. Your secondary is ass. We can put points on this team. You can beat this team with Kirk Cousins. We probably beat them. Maybe both times. I don't know if we win at their place or not, but we definitely beat them that first game. So we almost won with like 4 interceptions. I mean, they have issues. They have issues, but they're the kings of the North. You got to respect it. But yeah, as far as I think the whole NFC North can be really tough next year.
Yeah, they're definitely they were very beatable this year. I think they had a lot of things go their way. I think they played really well in term. It was clear they're well coached. Like they're not a team that gets a ton of penalties and shoots themselves in the foot. Unlike yesterday when they just practically did that every time on the field in the second half. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious to see how the offense goes if Ben
Yep.
Johnson leaves because Jared Goff with the Lions the year before Ben Johnson became the OC, he was garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that had to do more with the personnel on the field, or the offensive coordinator. I don't know, but we'll find out. And a lot of times, OC leaves and the quarterback falls apart,
It's a big
um,
change.
or the offense falls apart. So I'm very curious to see that. But yeah, like you mentioned, the Bears should be better. They were much better in the second half last year. And they might have Caleb Williams or whoever they decide to go with, and like you said, the Packers, Jordan Love will be coming back. They might have to pay him though this year. See how that goes. But we don't know who their DC is going to be. I think they're eyeing the dude from Carolina, Evero, or Mike Zimmer. You never know.
I keep seeing that floating around. Yeah, it would be fun. It would be fun.
I don't know if he wants to do that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see next year in the NFC North. And the Lions, because they finished in first place, they're gonna have a first place schedule, so they're gonna have to play teams like the Cowboys, the Niners, or the Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks are not gonna be easy.
But yeah, so and everyone will be gunning for them because they're at the top now. So it'll be I'm interested to see how things go, how they respond to that adversity. On the other side, the Ravens lost, so now Taylor Swift. I mean, the Chiefs get to go to the Super Bowl, and I think this was the 6th year in a row the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl, or not the Super Bowl, the AFC Championship.
Yep,
which is insane.
it is.
Patrick Mahomes has never not played in the AFC Championship during his entire career. I don't like that's. I just want 1 year. I want 2, maybe 2 years of that. But they played really well. Their defense is a lot better this year, and that was the case again yesterday. The Ravens, we talked about the Lions shooting themselves in the foot. The Ravens did that a bunch yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Zay Flowers fumbling on the goal line. Lamar Jackson just not looking like himself.
Looking awful.
They didn't run the ball really at all. Even though they're a very good running team and the Chiefs are a terrible run defense, it just didn't make a ton of sense.
I don't know.
But the Chiefs, are they I see a lot of people saying like, "Oh, Patrick Mahomes, he's already the greatest of all time." Are you in on that conversation, or you still want to see some things before you're like, he's better than Tom Brady or whoever you think is the greatest of all time?
He's on that road for sure. He's definitely on that road. I need to see more, but he's definitely on that road. And we had someone come on, maybe it was one of the shows we did, but talking about like, look at Pat Mahomes. He doesn't matter who his receivers are. Talking about paying Justin Jefferson. It's like not everybody's Pat Mahomes. I mean, you can't find a Patrick Mahomes. They don't just grow in trees. That's a rare talent. Comes around, once a decade, maybe if that. So yeah, I mean, he could be when it's all said and done. Like you just mentioned, 6 AFC championships in a row. It's insane.
It's insane. I want to see what happens when Andy Reid retires. Because Andy Reid, he's arguably, well, not arguably, he is one of the greatest head coaches, offensive minds in NFL history. And Patrick Mahomes just fell in his lap, and he's had the luxury of having Andy Reid call his plays for his entire career. So, I mentioned how Jared Goff might be different with Ben Johnson gone. I'm curious to see how how Patrick Mahomes is without Andy Reid, because we saw Tom Brady. He had McDaniels for a lot of time in New England, but then he went to Tampa Bay and they won the Super Bowl. And I think he had Byron Leftwich as his offensive coordinator.
That's correct. Yep.
So he seemed to be okay without Josh McDaniels helping him out there. But yeah, I'm curious to see, because I do see that where people are like, "Oh, Mahomes is the GOAT," and I'm like, yeah. Brady won 7 Super Bowls.
Yeah, I know.
That's cool. Mahomes is very good, very very good. He's off to a great start, but I would just like to hold off on that crowning before we get to the end. And the Ravens, they're like the Braves, like the '90s Braves of the NFL, where they always seem to do really well in the regular season and then get to the playoffs. And
is it fair to say that both of these teams that lost yesterday both lost in very Vikings-esque fashions? I mean, you saw like the Ravens just kind of collapse and just not execute and fumbled, and the Lions have a heartbreaker. So I felt like both these losses were very Vikings-like.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dalvin Cook was on the field for the Ravens, so he might have given it. Oh, Dan Chisena was on the field too for the Ravens yesterday. I don't know if you saw that.
He's too fast. I couldn't see him.
He was blown by everybody, including the return man. Dalvin Cook's out there. Michael Pierce. I don't think Laquan Treadwell was active yesterday, but he was on the Ravens practice squad, I think.
That was the reason why then.
Yep, that's it. And then I don't even know if the Lions had any. Oh, the Lions have a couple. They have like David Blau and some random former Vikings. Teddy Bridgewater. There you go.
Bridgewater.
So that was apparently his last game yesterday. He said before that he was going to retire after the season and coach high school football. Real quick, was Teddy Bridgewater's career successful in the NFL?
No, I don't think so. I think the injury just kind of ruined it. I mean, where he was going, the way he looked in 2016 before the injury, I mean, there was all kinds of reviews about, how good everything was going, and then, blows out his knee. That was non-contact, right? He was just dropping back the handoff or something, and it just
That's what they say.
Yeah, I mean, well, he still managed to, he's in the league, 10 years?
Yeah. I mean, I that in terms of, I think maybe the success, the degree of success maybe has to be changed for him, I feel like, because I think if you take it from his injury and how gruesome it was and described, the fact that he was able to continue to play for so many years after that, I think is probably a success in of itself. In terms of like stats and career accolades, no, it wasn't.
Yeah. And what it could have been too.
Yeah, and he was a first round pick. Your expectations are super high whenever that happens. So in terms of that was success, no. But in terms of like being able to have a solid career in the NFL, he made a bunch of money. After it seemed like he might not even walk or play again. I think that's a success in and of itself. And you know what? I'm always gonna think of Teddy as a Viking, because those are his best years. He's only there for 3-4 years on the field for 1.5.
Did he come back after the 17th season?
He came in. He came in, I think, to the Bengals game, and then he threw a pick.
After all those cheers. Everybody loves Teddy Bridgewater. He's always been loved in Minnesota, so he's always going to be a Viking, like you said.
Yeah, I think that's the last jersey I actually bought. Actually, it was a Teddy jersey.
Really?
So got that hanging out. I can change it to like I almost changed it to a Dan Bailey jersey though. But
really, good thing you didn't do that.
Yeah.
Viking sticker jersey.
So the Niners and Chiefs in the playoffs. The logo color conspiracy theorists are in shambles today. There's no purple team in the Super Bowl. Just early prediction. Who do you think's going to come out on top?
This one's weird because the Niners have looked so good at times. They look so bad at times. The Chiefs, they have the experience. They've been there before. They've all done it. So I guess I'm leaning toward the Chiefs and that experience. Brock Purdy, We've seen some bad Brock Purdy in recent weeks, so Chris Jones could be a factor in this one. I think the Chiefs are probably going to win. I hate to say it because that stink they made during the Bills game really pissed me off, really lost some luster for this. I mean, that was just a team I kind of respected because they're always so good, and they're bitching about the offsides on, was it Tony who was out? Yeah, and they're just, I mean, that carried on. They just sound like a bunch of whiners. So ever since then, I'm not a Chiefs fan, but I do think they're going to probably win.
Yeah, it was hard to take that all in from the Chiefs being like, "Oh, we never get calls," and it's like we could just go back to earlier in the season when you played the Vikings and a ref told one of your players to put his helmet back on, or else he would get a flag. When he should have just gotten a flag.
Exactly.
So
they got that on their side too.
I understand that, but and they're good, so they've earned those calls. Brady got those calls in his career. Aaron Rodgers gets those calls. You know, like you earn those calls. The NFL wants to protect their stars, and that's what's going to happen. Sometimes it's not going to be that way, and sometimes you're going to get calls that go against you, and it's going to shock you, and you're going to throw a fit like you said they did.
Mm-hmm.
Then they came back and actually beat the Bills, fair and square, in the playoffs when it mattered. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I can't trust Kyle Shanahan in a championship setting. I just can't. It looked like he was gonna blow it again yesterday, and then the Lions blew it for him.
Mm-hmm.
Just I can't trust Kyle Shanahan in a situation like that. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. Yeah, and then I heard a funny proposition today where if the Chiefs win, then Travis Kelce's gonna go on one knee and propose to Taylor Swift in the in the confetti and
wow,
be happily ever after. That would be quite the sight. You don't have a problem with them showing.
No, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
These people are like, get her out of here. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
They don't show her every other play.
I was more mad whenever Wade Phillips was coaching, they'd show him all the time. That's what got me going. Like, why Mike McCarthy, they always show him. Like, I don't want to look at him.
Wade Phillips he didn't even wear a headset for like
no, he wasn't even supposed to be out there. He wasn't even coaching the team, and he's still there. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I don't have a problem. Like, I see a lot of people freaking out. It's like, okay, just don't watch. It's okay. Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. All right, so
yes,
Super Bowl's all set. Kirk Cousins is still looking to break the bank. I don't know. Some people just think that he's like, oh, he's going to take a hometown discount. He's never done that in his career. Why is he going to do that now? So no, right. He's like I said, he's got this once in a lifetime opportunity to make all this money. Get it while you can.
Absolutely.
All right. So the East and West Shrine game is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I think later this week, Thursday. I want to say. I think
it's Thursday now. Yeah.
Is it in where is it? Vegas or Dallas?
I'm not even sure where the hell it is.
I think they're practicing in Dallas, so I'm going to assume that it's down there. And then the Senior Bowl is obviously in Mobile. Yep.
Mobile, Alabama.
So you like to write about some draft prospects on the Viking Age. So I'm just going to kind of try and pick your brain and ask you who are some of the guys you think Vikings fans should keep an eye out for in these next two kind of all-star games.
Yeah, when it comes to the East-West Shrine Bowl, the one that's most intriguing to me, who's not even playing, is quarterback Jordan Travis from Florida State. He is down there. He's meeting people. But here's a guy who dual-threat quarterback. He's got strong enough arm. He can take off with his legs. Great at improvising when play breaks down. This was a guy who was having a great year until I think ended up being a broken leg. They didn't really diagnose it publicly what the hell actually happened to him. He had some surgery. It was like a lower leg injury, but he had surgery. He has a cast on it. So I think he's broke his fibula or something. But here's the thing with the Vikings. Okay, I can't see him getting to the top three. Like, every team picking top three needs a quarterback. So you have to give them something very, very, very enticing above market price to get into one of those picks. So it's going to cost you. You're probably not drafting the first round again until 2028 if you get into one of those picks. And then if you move back, or if you look in the second round, is Penix going to be there? I'm not quite sold on McCarthy yet. So if you're looking for like a mid-round flyer, a guy who probably shouldn't be there in round 4, maybe even round 5, one thing you remember about the draft, any injury pushes these guys way down. I mean, it's like they can never heal. It's like, oh my God, this is a permanent thing. If he's sitting there, I'm taking a flyer. Even if I have to redshirt him next year, at least you have someone on the roster who has some upside, who has some talent, because there's a lot of talent here with Jordan Travis. So to me, he's not even playing, and he's the guy I'm watching the closest.
Yeah, and I think broken bones are a lot different injuries than, soft
Yep.
tissue, torn Achilles, torn ACLs and stuff like that, where those are more reoccurring or they have a higher chance of reoccurring, where a broken bone is kind of just like his leg was bent the wrong way and
Yeah.
his bone couldn't handle it. That's interesting. I like that. Um, yeah, as far as trading up to the top three, I do think it's going to be tough. I saw another report today where like the Broncos are another team that's interested in trading up, and they're obviously picking higher than the Vikings, so they'll be able to maybe offer a little bit more. Um, I think the Patriots would be the only team that might trade out of the top three, and
And I don't even know why they wouldn't. I mean, you got a new head coach, Jared Mayo. I mean, you want the quarterback to build around. I know everybody's assuming like they're going to move out because maybe Belichick would have, but I don't know what the new head coach is
I
going to do.
mean, what if they sign Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, yeah, you have free agency that could swing things, but I don't
They
know. I just wish one of those teams didn't have a dire need at quarterback who was in the top three.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's gonna like this. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what the Vikings do, because we've seen all the things where like if their guy, they want their guy, they're gonna do whatever they can to trade up. So it's gonna be interesting to
Yeah.
see what they do. What about the Senior Bowl? Have you seen anyone that's gonna be
Well,
there
I
yet
mean,
that you're
Senior
intrigued?
Bowl, I mean, I'm watching closely Penix and Bo Nix, the two quarterbacks that if the Vikings are looking to maybe move down in the first or back up into the first, definitely some guys that you're going to be watching here with Penix. Penix should light this thing up. Like, I mean, his deep ball is beautiful. The throwing, the passing drills, he should absolutely just get rave reviews. That's what he does. That's his strength. Obviously, you want to look at his leg, see how those knees are, see what's going on there with his health. He's had plenty of injuries. His injury history is lengthy. Bo Nix, the same thing. Like, he was a one read offense in college. Just see the first guy and chuck it. So maybe see him go through some progressions, see how he does under center, things like that with him. So if you're gonna fall in love with one of these guys who's not a top three quarterback, Penix or Nix are probably the next two up, and they got to do their homework and see which one they prefer, which one fits them better, and which one just maybe has the higher football IQ as well.
I think I saw something where I don't know what draft analyst it was, but that Penix could go undrafted. Do you think that's even possible?
I mean, if his medical is really bad, I mean, that's another
Okay.
thing that you talk about falling. I mean, if his medical check, there's any kind of chronic issues or something like that, then he could definitely fall. But he looked so damn good that Texas game, and then not so great in the national championship game. But the dude can sling it, and it comes out quick, and it comes out accurately. So he's very intriguing to me. Move over to the defensive side of football. Obviously, the two big boys from Texas, they are very high on my wish list. Byron Murphy too, and the big boy Tavondre Sweat.
We
It's
need
like
another
300.
Byron Murphy.
Yeah, we need another Byron Murphy. Why would you not want to have two Byron Murphys? But I think Daniel Jeremiah had him mocked to us at 11 in his latest mock draft. What I want is our own Chris Jones, a guy who can be up there in the front, take over the game, dominate the line of scrimmage. But Murphy, you can move inside, outside. You can move him around a little bit. He's big enough to take up some mass, to plug up some running lanes, and he can also provide some interior pressure. Sweat, the only question with him, can he be a 3-down player or not? I don't know, but he's ginormous. Put him in the middle. You ain't running the Vikings with this guy. And he's got, I mean, for a big guy, he's got violent hands. He's powerful. He can get in the backfield. And actually, when he starts moving, he's quicker than you'd think. So those two guys get me very, very excited. And the other guy is Latu from UCLA, the edge rusher. The Vikings outside linebacker coach is coaching him. So, I mean, who else would you want down there watching this guy get report? He's just like this technician, extremely explosive off the football. Some questions about his overall athletic ability, but you got, I mean, and I think Durante Jones is defensive coordinator for one of the teams too. So two main guys on your defense are down there watching these prospects. And if you don't go quarterback, this is a great draft to improve your front seven.
Yeah, they have a second round pick this year. I think. I don't think they have a third from the
Nope.
from the Hawkinson trade.
2 fourths, a second, and a first.
So maybe they trade up in the second, and try and grab one of those quarterbacks that are maybe left after the first night. Maybe that'll.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Vikings haven't had like, I know Linval Joseph. He was more of like a nose tackle.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't really had a guy like a Chris Jones type since Kevin Williams.
Probably is the closest thing, yeah.
I mean, they drafted Sharif Floyd, but that didn't really work out.
No.
So yeah, Kevin Williams, who was a beast and should be in the Hall of Fame because he's made like 6 All-Pro teams, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be good. I think the Vikings need to improve the trenches. I think that needs to be a focus this year. If you go around and look at some of the top teams in the NFL, they all have physical, big, meaty guys in the
Mm-hmm.
middle. Just watch the Niners and Lions yesterday. Those guys were destroying each other on the field, both offense and defense in the middle. So I think those are good options. What do you think maybe is like just your opinion, like a sleeper maybe position that the Vikings might target early that maybe people aren't really thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, you look at even safety might surprise people, but I don't know how you feel about Lewis Cine. I'm giving up on him. I'm done with that. Josh Metellus, is he going to stick to his little utility role, or are they going to move him back to safety? Harrison Smith,
Bring
he's
Winfield.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. You go and get Winfield, which we never should not drafted him. Don't even get me started on that. That was insane that you didn't take that kid when he had a chance. That could be one. I mean, even a receiver. You hate to say it, but shit. I mean, who's wide receiver 3? I mean, we don't have one right now. I'm not talking first round, maybe even second round could shock somebody. So those are some positions. Inside linebackers, another one where you think really after Ivan Pace Jr., where's the talent? Where's the depth? Depends who we bring back. So that's one that could also be an earlier pick than people expect.
Running back,
I don't even know if it matters right now what the way our running game is, who's carrying the football. There's so many things wrong. I don't even understand it, but the play design is one thing I don't like. I don't know. I thought there would be maybe somebody. Is there a running game coordinator? We're asking this on our show. I know there's a passing game coordinator. Fire that guy. Someone needs to take a blame. We couldn't run the damn football.
It's the running backs coach. It's Modkins. He's also the run game coordinator.
I don't know. Yeah, but still, I mean, you look at Blake Corum from Michigan. He'd be pretty damn nice to have.
Yeah, and the run game, I think it also comes down to the play caller. It didn't even really matter last year how well Ty Chandler or somebody else was running the ball last year. Kevin O'Connell just seemed to abandon it. If there was like 1 yard run, he was like, okay, we gotta throw it. Even when Josh Dobbs was out there, a guy who you should probably run the ball more than you throw, he was still like, no, let's throw 30 times a game because that's what Josh Dobbs is good at, throwing. Definitely not good at running around. Yeah, so I think that's
as long as KOC is here, it might not matter.
But I think the good thing is look at what Sean McVay just did with the Rams this past year, where he was like, okay, we got to fix this run game. I think he switched from a zone based scheme more to like a power running scheme, and emphasize the run more, and that seemed to help them out, take more of the pressure off of Matthew Stafford. And I think doing that might be something where O'Connell's like, oh, McVay did it, and I can do it too. But at the same time, you never know, because once you get on the field and he's calling the plays, he just might get back to his old habits. But hey, guess what? They have Josh Oliver, who's like the best run blocking tight end in the league, but it doesn't matter because you're not using him at all. And CJ Ham, he's going to the Pro Bowl. Does he do you bring him back next year? What, he's on a 1-year deal still.
I forgot he was even on the team. I barely saw him out there this year.
Do you what do you what's the purpose of bringing CJ Ham back next year?
I don't know.
Locker room?
Locker room guy, especially he's like on every unit, I think. So that must be his value. I love CJ Ham, right? I mean, he grew up just down the road from me here. He's got a camp he runs every summer that my kids have gone to. I really love CJ Ham. He's a great story, but I barely remember seeing him on the field last year, let alone be a Pro Bowl player. So that was shocking, but that's the Pro Bowl. So,
well, he's like one of 3 fullbacks in the whole league. So,
yeah.
All right, I think that's going to do it for today's edition. Thank you for coming on again, Nick.
Thanks for having me.
Once again, where can people find you and your work and your YouTube channel?
YouTube, Onebar Lupugus show. Go give us a subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Feel so damn good.
They don't have any, so help them out.
Yeah, we got a few, but we always want more. Always want to get that number up. So Twitter, I don't know, at Lupugus, I believe is my handle. But I don't tweet a whole lot. So or find me on the Viking Age. I got a couple articles every week, usually dropping there.
Yeah. You've got I know you've got something on the East West Shrine game coming out. I think I'm gonna probably get that up for you tomorrow or on Wednesday
right now too.
So. And then February will be Combine.
Hell yeah, it's a great time.
Year, so
free agency around the corner. It's a fun time to be a Vikings fan. It's too bad it's always the off season.
It is. Thanks again to Nick for coming on. Everyone else, like this video, follow or subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, wherever you go. Subscribe to the audio version of this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, iHeart, wherever. But until next time, I and possibly Chris will talk to you later.